I'm going to turn this over to my colleague, Commissioner John Plechnik. John, you want to take it from here, sir?
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most special responsibilities that the Board of County Commissioners has is to recognize and to swear in elected officials across Lake County. And today we're taking a moment to recognize Scott Fishel, who we will be swearing in as a member of the Riverside School Board. There is no more important responsibility in public service. It's often called a thankless job. I think we hear that on a regular basis. It's certainly not a career. It is a public service. And Mr. Fishel has stepped up in a big way for his neighbors and for the children of Riverside and Lake County by being willing to serve in this fiduciary capacity. And the Board of County Commissioners wants to recognize him for that extraordinary sacrifice. But we're also honored to be a small part in his very first day on the job. So I would ask Mr. Fishel, as well as his son, to step up and receive the oath of office so that he may serve as the duly elected member of the Riverside School Board, and I might add, the top vote getter in his school district.
Thanks for coming out.
Mr. Fishel, I would ask that you raise your right hand and repeat after me, placing your left on the Bible.
Yes. No. Thank you. President Biden says you can proceed.
Tell President Biden we don't need him.
He says, let's go.
Do you solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that you will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties
and I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties
as a member of the Board of Education of the Riverside Local School District,
as a member of the Board of Education of the Riverside School District,
Lake County, Ohio,
Lake County, Ohio,
to the best of your ability
to the best of my ability,
and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted.
and in accordance with the laws
Now in effect
now in effect
and hereafter to be enacted.
and hereafter to be effective.
During your continuance in said office
During my continuance in said office,
and until your successor is elected and qualified.
and until my successor is elected and qualified.
So help you God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Scott.
Thank you, Commissioner.
The newest member of the Riverside School Board. Why don't you get in there?
Hold on a second, I'm photobombing.
I know
here.
you are. Okay.
We can cut him out after the fact. We can sign this real quick.
And
Scott?
for the record, I promised there'd be no bunny eaters, so I locked my fingers together so I wouldn't be tempted.
Do 3 copies. So you have 20. Typically, one is cut by you, and the others are for records. So you sign each of your 3. Now that's official. Congratulations again,
Thank you,
Scott.
sir. Thanks.
And you.
Good. Congratulations.
Let's go.
Congratulations.
Good to see you.
That's one. You can deal with one for the school board and one for yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Well, again, congratulations, and thank you, Commissioner Plechnik, for performing that swearing in. And with that, I would like to welcome everybody to the 50th meeting of the Board of Lake County Commissioners. Would all those who are willing and able please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Grant us, O Lord, light to our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, and to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority, and may we use in our directives for the common good and for thy honor and glory. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Present.
Commissioner Young.
Here.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Here. Thank you. We have before us the meeting minutes for the regular meetings of December 7th and December 16th of 2021. Do we have a motion to approve same, waiving the reading thereof?
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young. Yes. Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. All right, now we're in a first public comment portion, and we have some recognitions to be giving here that are very important. Madam Clerk, how would you like to proceed with that? You're kind of our organizer here.
I guess I would defer to Commissioner Plechnik on this.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. John, this seems to be your show today, so what?
Well, thank you, Mr. President, but really, the show here, if you will, is to recognize an extraordinary group of women who were the first in the history of Lake County to lead a city council. The city of Willoughby Hills, my hometown, and the work that they did. Because the work that these ladies did together was truly extraordinary. And it's customary for a village or a city to give resolutions at the end of a council term to recognize this work. But when you're talking about the first in history for an entire county, it's not enough for just one city to acknowledge the accomplishment. This is really something that belongs to all of Lake County. And the contribution that Council President Nancy Fellows, the Councilwoman Laura Pijmo, the Councilwoman Laura Lenz, the Councilwoman Janet Micah made to the history of Willoughby Hills and all of Lake County is something that we need to remember. It's something that we need to inspire our daughters and our children with. It's something that we need to be thankful for, because the work that they did on the west end of the county has spread to inspire and help and grow all of Lake County. Now, these ladies were often referred to because they were so effective, so strong. Their majority was often referred to as the super majority. You've heard of Superman. Well, they were Superwoman. And they worked together in ways that brought Willoughby Hills so much further forward than I thought possible. People often joke that I was the token man. And it was an honor to be the token man, the diversity hire there, if you will. I was the one guy. But I got to see firsthand the effectiveness of their leadership. I was vice president to Council President Nancy Fellows, and so it was my job to back her up, to follow the lead, and she always took us down the right path. But it's not possible for one person to lead a city, and Nancy had to build a leadership team. And that's where Councilwoman Lenz and Micah and Pijmo came together with extraordinary effectiveness, kindness, and really an ability to negotiate and work with others, both good and bad, difficult and easy, so that they could get things done for Willoughby Hills. I would, if I might, borrow the placard for Nancy Fellows, because I'd like to read it into the record as the council president, as the one who led us forward. We honor her today, the Lake County Board of Commissioners, for exemplary service during her 20 years as councilwoman on the City Council of Willoughby Hills, Lake County, Ohio. And I have to say, Council President, Councilwoman Nancy Fellows is the longest serving elected official in Willoughby Hills. I served 3 terms in 6 years, and I can only imagine the sacrifice that 20 years represents. but I have seen firsthand the great good that she has done in our city. So we honor her today for 20 years of exemplary service, her term ending this year. Whereas the Honorable Nancy Fellows led the first woman majority city council in the history of Lake County as council president and chair of rules and legislation, along with Councilwoman Janet Micah, Councilwoman Laura Lenz, and Councilwoman Laura Pijmo. And whereas Fellows served the city of Willoughby Hills with the highest distinction as councilwoman at large for 20 years since her first election in 2001. And whereas Fellows was elected by her peers on council to serve as council president for 2 terms for a total of 4 years, and council vice president for 1 term for a total of 2 years. And whereas Fellows was twice appointed by the governor of Ohio and confirmed by the state senate for 2 consecutive 4-year terms as a member of the Ohio Board of Nursing. She volunteers as a member of North Coast Lions Club and serves her community in a myriad of ways. And whereas Fellows received the annual Woman of Achievement Award in 2018 from the Women's Center of Lakeland Community College. And whereas, and this is the part that gets the accounting major, the tax lawyer, and me, Fellows balanced the budget, lowered sewer fees, increased staffing in the police and fire departments for the first time in 28 years, established the police substation on Chardon Road, and supported the tax abatement to bring the single largest employer in the last decade and over 300 good-paying jobs to Willoughby Hills and Lake County. Now, therefore, the Board of Lake County Commissioners in and for Lake County, Ohio offers its highest commendation to Nancy Fellows for her historic contribution to the city of Willoughby Hills and Lake County in service to her neighbors. A round of applause for Council President Nancy Fellows. But I want to note, because once again, leadership means bringing a team with you, that this was only possible with the support, the help, the insight, the advice, the guidance that Nancy's colleagues so freely gave for years on council, including Laura Lenz, who we honor for her exemplary service as councilwoman for the city of Willoughby Hills, who was chosen by her peers to serve as a member of the Planning and Zoning Committee, and who prior to that was appointed with me and served under me when I was chairman of the Recreation Commission as a Rec Commission member for 2 years for the city of Willoughby Hills. And let me tell you about Laura Lenz. During the 2 years she served on Recreation Commission, she knocked on the door of every single business in Willoughby Hills to ask them to contribute to the city's recreation events, to make donations so that we could give gifts and prizes to children and families in need, so that we could afford to put on free events for people who couldn't afford to pay for them. Literally, Laura knocked on the door of every single business in Willoughby Hills twice. That was not an easy job to do, and we thank Laura for, even before her term on council, for giving so much to the city. We also acknowledge my dear friend and neighbor down the road, right on Bishop, Janet Micah. And we honor her for her time as a councilwoman, as chair of utilities, where she pushed harder than anyone to cut sewer fees, not once, but twice. Having served not only as the District 2 councilwoman for her ward, but also as councilwoman at large, and now serving her community yet again as a trustee for Lakeland Community College. There is no better friend to Willoughby Hills, to Lake County, and to me on Bishop Road. And lastly, a special acknowledgement to our councilwoman Laura Pijmo, the only member of the supermajority, the only member of the first woman-led city council in the history of Lake County who is unable to join us today because Laura is currently battling stage 4 cancer. She just got out of the Cleveland Clinic for her last treatment of the year. She is brave, she's fighting hard and doing as well as could be expected, but her health doesn't allow her to be with us today. But I know that Laura is with us in spirit because she is always with the people of Willoughby Hills and Lake County and her friends and neighbors in spirit, because no one has more spirit than her. I've used the term supermajority, but the very first time I talked about local government with Laura Pichemot, Councilwoman Pichemot, Assistant Prosecutor Laura Pichemot, Law Director and Solicitor Laura Pichemot, she said, "John, I'm super excited." And I know we will be super excited when Laura makes a full recovery and wins her greatest battle yet against cancer. But once again, we honor Council President Nancy Fellows, the longest serving elected official in the history of Willoughby Hills, former councilwoman and current Lakeland Community College trustee Janet Micah, my beloved colleague not only on council but on Recreation Commission, former Councilwoman Laura Lenz, and God bless her, the unkillable, the unstoppable Laura Pichemot. A round of applause for the first women to lead Willoughby Hills. And now, with one last favor asked of our president and my my president and my colleagues on the commission, I'd be grateful if my former colleagues from Willoughby Hills Council could come up and take a picture with the commission to honor them one more time.
Of course, I'm sure without objection. It's not official if there's no photos, right? Oh, bless you. If I could just add to that, though, thank you. Your servant's heart has served you well as you've served the people of your community as well as Lake County in general. And Commissioner Young, anything you want to add, sir?
Yeah, I just want to say that you guys are warriors. You've been through a lot together.
Oh, your microphone.
You like it?
Yes, please.
And I think it's only reasonable and proper that we do this today. You know, I know you all, and I know that you're all believers. You're all people of faith. And in a sense, we're called to serve on this earth, to hold the ground. You know, the Lord won the battle years ago on the cross. He won the battle. It's over. The earth is His. But we're His people, and He's not back yet. So in the meantime, we need to hold the ground. We need to hold the ground. Just stand firm in the faith and do what's right. And you did that in spite of all the obstacles, all the difficulties, all the oddness that went on there. You held the line. And we're thankful for that. Lake County's thankful for that. Ohio's thankful for that. And it's only proper that you receive these awards today. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Well, come on up.
We'll help the ladies.
There you go. Teamwork. Thank you.
Well, I was told a different story.
The honor of presenting that to you.
All right. Go there first, and then you can do me last. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay.
Congratulations. My president.
There we go. Okay.
Congratulations, Laura. A lot of good together.
It's always good to take care of extended family. You know, we've all served together in different capacities, but the important thing is the service. But I think there is something, though, Commissioner Young, I think you did a special swearing in back in the day. You want to share that with us a little bit?
Well, it was special to me.
There you go.
Special to me.
And I hope it was special to Laura.
Yes, it was very. Never
It was,
forget it.
you know, to swear in someone like you has a lot of meaning because you bring meaning to the job. You bring purpose. And you really care and you really want to do what's right.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people get caught up in the future potential that a job might offer.
Yeah.
But you've always impressed me as someone who was there to do the job and serve the people.
Yeah.
And that means so much. It changes the whole tenor of the room. And you certainly did that in Willoughby Hills.
Well,
Thank you.
It's nice of you to swear me in and get down there right away. And that was,
Well, you made it happen.
yeah, you did. John helped.
Mr. President, I'll just never forget, we had lined up a judge to swear in Laura, and she said, "No, it's got to be Ron Young. He's my hero." So.
Yeah.
There you go. This is a great, great way to be ending the year with good memories and a strong track record of service. So thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, and with that, you're welcome to stay as we go through our ministerial processes here.
We'll stay.
There you go. See, till the end. Okay, Madam. Oh, I'm sorry. Public portion. I almost went and blew right through that. Mr. Massey, please. We are still in the first public comment portion of our meeting. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Brian Massey, 8196 Rainbow Drive, Concord Township. I was under the understanding that we are going to have, the commissioners will have budget meetings. And I have a question. Are those budget meetings open to the public?
Yes, they are.
Will
They are
the-
recorded as well.
And they are recorded. Will there be, can I find the dates and times on the website, or may I ask for those?
I would defer to our clerk, but I believe, Jason, what do you have? Jason Boyd, our county administrator.
Just coming up because of the mic. Yeah, I believe Finance Director Matus has sent the email out last week for those wanting a budget hearing. Tentatively the 3rd or 4th week of January. There have none been scheduled to date, but we'll be sure to get that information to you. They are indeed public. They are indeed recorded, so it's kind of those who request or those who the commissioners request to bring in to discuss relevant matters. But yes, they will be published and made available once we get them scheduled.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. I look forward to that. One other item is I've been made aware that there are some bonuses to be paid to certain individuals, and I did not know if that was common practice within the county. Again, it may be. I'm not against anybody, getting bonuses for work performed very well. My concern is, though, that opportunity should be available to any and all departments, whether it's the Board of Elections or whether it's the Clerk of Courts or Treasurer's Office or Auditor's Office. I would hope that they're all, treated equally. So if you have anything that you can share, with us, or does that happen during the budgeting process, or are there decisions that are made prior to the budgeting process, to accommodate any request for bonuses? I'll sit down and listen to your answer.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
There's a lot to unpack in what you said, though. You might want to,
Okay.
because I might
All
need
right.
some clarification.
Very good.
There has been some confusion, and I've heard this from more than one source. We have had our labor agreements with our unions where we've had negotiated sums of money that were paid out in addition to normal hourly wages. There's some give and take in those negotiations. It's part of normal bargaining. It's all a matter of good faith. It's all done openly, and it's approved at an open commissioner meeting. We have had some departments request to do flat out bonuses, and some of those sources are restricted, which is obviously statutory requirements that we can't work with another elected official to expense monies from an account. And then this is just a matter of the learning process. This is where we work as a team. We've had another department give bonuses based on some internal metric, and that is something that we've had to work through. So those are three recent examples. Going back a little bit further, again, they were all tied to collective bargaining and good faith negotiations. But I wanted you to stay up there. Is that lining up and answering your question?
It sounds like there's a difference. Something is happening different this year than happened. It's not just part of the collective bargaining process. You're saying that is a special request, I guess, if that, and which is probably perfectly fine. I'm concerned that from a managerial standpoint, if that opportunity for bonuses are not available to all departments, you may get some employees that are upset that they're not being treated equally. That's just my opinion.
No, and that is a fair concern, and our concern also is we don't want other departments, other separately elected officials moving monies around or asking for excessive amounts of money in one category or another, knowing that it'll be left over at the end of the year that could be divvied up. That's not being good stewards of the public's money. If speaking for myself, I'll leave my colleagues to comment if they so choose. But yes, there are some things which will definitely be discussed in the upcoming budgeting process in more detail.
Okay, I look forward to attending those meetings. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Gentlemen, do you want to add to any of that, or are you good as is? Okay, thank you, Mr. Massey. Is there anyone else wishing to address the board at this time? Okay, moving on from the first public comment portion. Madam Clerk, first agenda item, please.
In the engineer's office, resolution accepting a standard highway easement and sewer easement for the northern termination point of Rumen Road in Perry Township.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. County Engineer, do you want to add to that, sir?
Do I want to add to it? Maybe. Let me think about that.
Oh, come on, there's a little fun in there. Add to it.
What we're going to be doing with this and some coming resolutions in the hopefully the first half of the year is cleaning up a lot of our agreements and the things that that we need to do property-wise and easement-wise to cover, so to make sure that the utilities in place we have the ability to service them and repair them, do maintenance and whatever else. This is the intersection at 84 where the new Rumen Road Bridge terminates. We did eliminate River Road, but there's a sanitary sewer, there's also power and water in that right of way. There had to be some adjustments to the right of way in and around that intersection to accommodate the bridge. The balance of the property there will probably eventually be deeded to the park system, which was part of our agreement. So this is a part of a housekeeping cleanup. Plus fact, Randy wants a sewer.
There you go.
So you'll be seeing some more of this soon.
Gotcha. Very good. Thank you, sir. Gentlemen, anything else for our engineer? All right. Thank you. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing execution of a snowplow, road closure barriers, and turnaround agreement between Lake Metro Parks Board of Commissioners Board of Park Commissioners and the Lake County Board of Commissioners for the hill section of Old Rumen Road.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Jim, did you want to add?
Yes,
to that
yeah. Part of this cleanup is the section of Old Rumen Road that goes down into the park to the Mason's Landing and to the new pedestrian bridge and so forth is now becoming park property. They have requested that we, since it's their property and is going to be vacated as part of their property, there'll no longer be a road, it'll just be a park road. They are intending to close that during the wintertime so they don't have to plow it and people don't get down in there and get stuck. We have agreed to that, and we have worked with them to create a turnaround for our trucks, because we will be plowing the section in front of the people's houses that are on Old Rumen Road. So we worked out a deal with them for that. We're going to be using their property as a turnaround. We're going to build they're going to build a turnaround. We're going to service it, and so that's what is going on here. And this is an agreement between us and the park for that service.
Just a curiosity question, would that turnaround be sufficient for some wayward trucks that follow the old GPS?
No, it will not. It'll be very difficult for any kind of a truck other than our snow plows to turn around there.
And that's basically just the geography. There's just physically not enough land to do it. Got it. All right, if there's nothing else, Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck. In the Utilities Department, resolution accepting a 3-year maintenance bond in the amount of $2,211 for Auburn Road Sanitary Sewer Extension Job Number 21-01 in Concord Township.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving plan specifications and estimates of cost in the amount of $98,652.60 for sanitary sewers for Ridgewood Greens Phase 3 subdivision in the City of Mentor, job number 21-40.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution awarding a bid contract to Ferguson Waterworks, Exhibit A, for cold water meters for the Lake County Department of Utilities.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving plan specifications and estimates of cost in the amount of $1,785,000 for Aquarius Water Treatment Plant Switchgear and Generator Project number 435W and advertising for bids for the same, bid opening February 9th, 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution transferring appropriations and transferring cash from Lake County Department of Utilities Project Fund 595 to the Water Operating Fund.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution certifying unpaid sewer and water sums and administrative charges to the Lake County Auditor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
And Job and Family Services Department, resolution approving Lake County Department of Job and Family Services vouchers, date of warrant January 7, 2022, and the amount of $91,365.64.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution authorizing execution of a service contract between United Labor Agency Incorporated and the Lake County Board of Commissioners on behalf of the Lake County Department of Job and Family Services to provide RESEA services at Ohio Means Jobs, Lake County, in the amount of $162,177 for calendar year 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Commissioner's Office, resolution appointing Joseph Gibson to the Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities for a 4-year term commencing with the annual organizational meeting in January 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution reappointing Andrea Poklar-Byrne as a member to the Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities for a 4-year term commencing with the annual organizational meeting in January 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution appointing Fred A. Tuff to the Lake County Board of Developmental Disabilities for a 4-year term commencing with the annual organizational meeting in January 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution declaring the Lake County Board of Commissioners a regular meeting schedule beginning January 6, 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution to change the name of a section of River Road right-of-way to Rumen Road located in Perry Township.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution to appoint Spence Klein to the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging for a term ending December 31st, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution reappointing Chiefs Ken Gunch and the City of Painesville Police of the City of Painesville of the City of Mentor Police Department and Randy E. Ice of the City of Wickliffe Police Department to the Lake County Narcotics Agency Executive Board for 3-year terms commencing January 1st, 2022 and expiring December 31st, 2024.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
In the Finance Department, resolution approving payment of bills as listed on the Commissioner's Approval Journal in the amount of $679,881.62.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution approving purchase orders as listed on the Commissioner's Purchase Order Approval Journal in the amount of $19,709.89.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution increasing and decreasing appropriations through various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes.
Resolution advancing and transferring cash and appropriations within various general and non-general fund accounts.
Move for consideration.
Second.
Discussion? None being heard. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. Very good. This brings us to our departmental reports portion of our meeting. Administrator Jason Boyd.
Good morning, Commissioners. Good morning, guests, and thank you and congratulations to the folks from Libby Hills. Thank you. Just briefly, and I got the high sign a little bit ago from Health Commissioner Graham, just to give a brief update on another fantastic example of private-public cooperation yesterday that occurred at the county fairgrounds. I received a call last Friday, I believe, from the health district about doing a pop-up testing facility at the fairgrounds, and thanks to a local company, and I apologize in advance if I mispronounce the name, of Azimuth Medical, and S as in Scott, C as in Chris, T as in Tom Medical Clinic, who provided the vast majority of the staffing and test kits for the event yesterday at the fairgrounds. I received the reports just a little bit ago. Once again, as we have experienced through this hectic 24 months or wherever we're at here, 20 months, our deputy sheriffs, our EOC staff, our utilities department, because of the recycling events we hold at the fairgrounds, the health district, obviously, and other community partners, Painesville Township Fire, and so on, rallied quickly, efficiently to host this event. There was 822 clients tested. This is the data supplied. 195 positive tests, 627 negative tests, with a positivity rate of 23.7. This event was slated to begin at 10 and run until 3 o'clock. Apparently, our friends on social media put a post out, so there was cars in the hundreds lined up at 6 a.m. But once they worked through the logistics, from what I was told from Deputy EMA Director Joe Hum, things went really smooth. And I believe they accounted for all the tests prior to noon and stopped permitting cars to get in line. So I just want to give you a brief update on the mass testing facility that was popped up in short order at the fairgrounds yesterday. Secondly, I was going to discuss the budget hearings. Director Matus has put the request out to those departments and elected officials who would like a budget hearing. As you know, we passed a temporary budget two weeks ago. That'll get us through the first quarter of the year. Mike typically likes to get that budget, the full budget, buttoned up by the end of February. So I'm sure the clerk and Ms. Lang and finance will be working with your calendars to secure a few days where we can have a few budget hearings. And with that said, I'd like to wish everyone a happy and safe New Year, and go Bucks.
Thank you, sir. Anything for Administrator? Jason, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Yes, I wanted to mention that as far as the budget hearings, once they are determined, they will be posted online for everybody, so they will be made public. And also, I wanted to mention that the organizational meeting, and which will be our next actual commissioners meeting, is scheduled for Thursday, January 6th, 10 a.m. Here in Chambers. So we're going to have the organizational meeting in the morning, and then on the same day, January 6th, we're going to have our regular meeting at 2. So we're actually going to have 2 commissioner meetings that day. And just wish everyone a Happy New Year.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. Anything for our clerk? Very good. Okay, moving on to legal. Sir?
No reports, Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. All right, this brings us to our old business portion of our meeting. Do we have any old business to come before the board? Okay, moving on to new business. Any new business? One thing I would like to bring up and discuss a little more, we've been talking about the One Ohio solution. That's for the opioid litigation against the pharmaceutical companies. The state of Ohio is one of the leaders in the nation on this. One of the things that counties and regions, we're in Region 13, along with Ashtabula, Geauga, and Portage counties. I want to say we have been tasked with putting together a body associated with and referring an individual to go on the state board that just reviews proposals for appropriateness and for funding. One of the things that was discussed down at the County Commissioners Association was to keep things clean, keep things lean. One of the models that had been talked about was having, obviously, the Board of Commissioners having a representative, but then opening it up to townships, villages, and our cities. One of the things that seems to be a good fit would be to have our mayors and managers, which would take care of our cities and villages, and our township association, having them pick qualified personnel to put on that group, that board, if you will, and move that forward. There is some desire, and that, like in good government, everything has got to get it done now. Early in January, I believe Ashtabula did put out a letter, which it's fairly well worded, that I think we should consider sending out to our colleagues, mayors and managers in the Township Association, and start seeking their assistance. What we don't want to do, and this is pretty much from guidance from the state and the lawyers overseeing, is we don't want to turn it into a pseudo-governmental board where it's all elected officials. They really like the idea of having people on this serving who actually have some skills that they can bring, some skin in the game, shall we say, because of their experience and their training. So I think that would be a reasonable thing. We could work together with our administrator, get a draft put together, and maybe get that out on our January 6th meeting, get that out to our colleagues with the cities, villages, and townships. So I just wanted to throw that out to everybody here, so we're talking about it. Any thoughts on that, or wait and see what the language would look like? Thoughts?
I need to know more about it at this point. It was a good explanation, but maybe we could talk a little bit later on.
Sure, as long as it's, I'm looking over to legal, as long as we're talking in terms of just informational and stuff that's in the public domain.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Obviously, we're not counsel to the county for purposes of litigation.
Sure. But I'm just, in terms of putting this body together that represents the 4 counties, you know, what it would look like and just the makeup and the complexion.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure. Yeah. Okay, abundance of caution. Got to get it right. Anything, Commissioner Plechnik, you want to add?
No, I would just say that in general, when you're looking for someone with expertise, it probably pays to have someone who's not currently in the mix, because these are very high-profile lawsuits, and you don't want someone who's working for a company that could stand to benefit and or be part of the litigation. And so, you know, I would be looking to retired pharmaceutical specialists, retired nurses, retired doctors, people who have the expertise but aren't potentially affected by the litigation.
Fair enough. You never know. There might be somebody that might become available after the first of the year. You just never know. So that being said, thank you, gentlemen. If there's no other new business to come before this board, I'd like to move on to our second public comment portion. Jim, thank you. Okay, Mr. Massey, our second public comment portion.
Brian Massey, 8196 Rainbow Drive. I do have several items to mention to the commissioners. First off is the Board of Elections. I'd like to thank Ross McDonald for allowing me to speak at the last public meeting that they had, and I look forward to working with Ross in the coming year in trying to somehow convince those skeptics that still say that there is, election fraud in Lake County. I've written a couple articles, about it, saying that we spent a lot of time and found none. But it is sort of frustrating to me, and it probably is frustrating to Dale and to the other members of the board, but I am determined to do what I can, as an average citizen, to convey to the people that we are running in Lake County free and fair elections. I'm not discussing any other county or any other state. I make no admissions, but I did admit to the Board of Elections that I admonish myself for believing some comforting lies as opposed to the unpleasant truth, and that is basically that when I heard from Dr. Frank, I was told that their expert is really an expert and a cyber ninja, and my mind led me to believe that this gentleman probably had two PhDs from MIT in computer science. But then when I read the Washington Post article that he was a pro surfer from Hawaii that sold t-shirts, I said, I've probably been duped by a charlatan. But again, I thank the Board of Elections for listening to me. The second item is the Auditor's Office. I'd like to publicly thank Auditor Galloway for his really working with me and trying to have me understand the triennial revaluation. It is extremely important, and I find Auditor Galloway to be very responsive to the needs of the citizens, and he is also talking about perhaps an addition to the dashboard, where what I was trying to do in the end game was trying to determine what property tax increase would be based on the revaluation, and what would the property taxes be because of the new tax levies that were passed. So he did say that he would be working, trying to answer those questions. And I think it is really appropriate that citizens really better understand inside millage, outside millage, the property taxes, because I am finding that they really don't understand. And it is a complex, very complex process. So again, I thank Auditor Galloway on that. On the Treasurer's Office, I'm going to ask Mr. Hammercheck for your help. I did send an email to Treasurer Zern regarding the unclaimed funds. If you remember, months ago, Lobbyists for Citizens did uncover those unclaimed funds, and was hoping that I had asked Treasurer Zern if he could give me an update. I know that he has found, some, but I do know that if whatever they can't find has got to go into the general fund. So I'm asking you, Commissioner Hammercheck, if you can find out for me. For some reason, Treasurer Zern is not corresponding with me. So I appreciate that help.
I would be happy to. You've definitely been the tip of the spear on that issue, so thank you.
Thank you. The second, the last item is Homestead Exemption. As you well know, property tax has been a real issue, for me over the years. Spent a lot of time researching it and trying to, speak to people throughout Northeast Ohio about property taxes. I did find that Representative Dan Troy has a current piece of legislation. It currently is in the House and Ways Committee that is going to increase the homestead exemption from $25,000 to $31,000 and maybe tied to inflation. Although I certainly appreciate Representative Troy's work in trying to help the seniors, I just don't think it's going to be enough, gentlemen. I really don't. And for 2022, I am going to make that sort of an issue that I am really going to press for all our legislators, and I'm hoping that Commissioner Young and Commissioner Hammercheck, that I could get your support on the, pushing the whole idea of making sure that we're taking care of the seniors in Lake County. I am very concerned that they're going to be priced out of their homes with the ever-increasing property taxes for whatever reason, and the rates of inflation that are going up, the cost of gasoline. These seniors are going to be in trouble. Now, some people say, well, Brian, why don't you just move? This is not about Brian Massey and trying to get lower property taxes. I am trying to give back to the community by saying that we are going to have some difficulties. These seniors are going to start losing their homes, and there's going to be foreclosures. So I ask for your support. I know I won't get it from Commissioner Plechnik, but I'm asking Commissioner Young and Hammercheck. Thank you very much.
Fair enough. Commissioner Plechnik?
Mr. President, that was a very odd comment, but I assume it's because Mr. Massey knows that I want to go far further than what Representative Troy would propose. I've long said that we should have a complete exemption of property taxes for seniors. I think that it's an insult to give a small discount to our senior citizens. Obviously, we should look into some net worth issues. We're not worried about a senior who can afford $1 million or a $500,000 house, but for the average Lake County resident, the average senior citizen on a fixed income, there should be a complete exemption from property taxes. So I know Mr. Massey might not be ready to support something that goes that far, but I think we should have a complete exemption from property taxes for our seniors. And I'd call on Representative Troy and all of our state reps and senators to do more, because it is not enough. That's why we as Lake County worked hard for our senior discount program with utilities, but we're limited in terms of what we can do. We can't change the Ohio Revised Code or eligibility requirements. We can only work with the tools that our state reps and our state senators give us. And I know that we've got some great representatives who are pushing, but I'd always call on them to push harder, because seniors, the average senior citizen should not have to pay property taxes. They've paid their dues, they've paid their taxes, we stand on their shoulders, and I think it's an insult to give them a small discount on property taxes. They should have a complete exemption. And you know what? Ohio would become the retirement capital of the world if we stepped up and got that done. So I want to go far further than what the commentary said today.
Commissioner Hammercheck, if I just add, I say thank you very much, Commissioner Plechnik, for your support of that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And Commissioner Young?
Yeah, I just want to say that I really appreciate Mr. Massey's comments this morning. With your background in auditing and your willingness to really apply yourself to do research, unbiased research, looking at the naked facts and the figures, determining motivations, and your obvious position that you developed over the last few years of not being biased. You know, some people, their only goal is to shoot holes in anything government does. And that can be a fairly target-rich environment. But at the same time, it's not always constructive. But I think that you approach it, especially recently, from a positive and constructive perspective. And it is such value to us as commissioners when you come forward armed with information, facts, and figures, and you provide that in an unbiased and fair way, not in an attack mode, but in a way that'll serve the people of Lake County. It's highly appreciated. Thank you.
And continuing on that theme, one of the things that I believe would be a tremendous value to property owners in general would be House Bill 1. Our own Jamie Callender got that across the finish line. It had to do with proper funding for schools, but what stands in the way of implementing it has to do with a gap between where we are now and where we need to be. And I think that would be a good time investment for this board to work with our legislators to get that gap filled so that we can relieve the burden on property tax payers. Because what is it, 3 times I believe the Ohio Supreme Court has determined that the current funding structure is unconstitutional. We have a fully functional mechanism that is ready to be implemented, and we just need to prime the pump, so to speak. So once we get that taken care of, I know there's been some talk that I have had where maybe we might want to encourage the state to use some of the stimulus dollars to bridge that. As a former legislator, Commissioner Young, I'm sure you can appreciate that everything runs on money, and if there's not that influx of cash to get us from where we are to where we need to be, things just tend to languish. But I think we're uniquely positioned in the state of Ohio to actually fix that and remove the burden. And if I can piggyback on Commissioner Plechnik here as far as our homestead and our utilities, one of the things that seems to be a bit of confusion, it took a while to get everybody educated as to exactly how to implement that, but we found that the language that we are compelled to abide by for homestead versus the language for the utilities discounts. If you're a disabled individual, you qualify for homestead, but you would not qualify for utilities discount. It's purely based on age and income. For the utilities, I think that's another area that we should be working on. We have many veterans, very many good people that are unable to seek gainful employ in a significant way that do qualify for homestead. And this could be a good way to harmonize those 2 statutes. There's no reason why you have statutes that don't work hand in glove with each other. So those are things that we are working on, but I think we need to be a little bit more open about it. One of the things I'm learning is it doesn't matter all the hard work you do. If nobody knows you're doing it, it doesn't count, which is rather maddening, I will confide. But Commissioner Plechnik, Commissioner Young, anything you want to add?
Mr. President, I would just reiterate, a homestead exemption is not sufficient for our senior citizens in Ohio. There should be an exemption, and I recognize that there should be some eligibility requirements, and if you're super wealthy, you don't need an extra break, but very few of us are so blessed. For the vast majority of Lake County seniors, Ohio seniors, there should be a complete property tax exemption. And any state rep or state senator who's willing to listen to me, that's what I'm going to tell them. Because there should be a complete exemption from property tax. It is not fair. We are taxing seniors out of their homes. And while we're doing everything we can in Lake County to minimize that tax burden, we only have so much authority. The law is set by Columbus, and we need Columbus to listen. There should be a complete property tax exemption for seniors, and you tell them John Plechnik said so.
Very good. Commissioner Young, anything else, sir?
No, thank you.
Thank you. All right. If there's anyone else in the audience wishing to address the board? All right. If there's no one else, we'll move on to a motion to adjourn this meeting. We don't even have an executive session, so we can move.
Second.
Moved. Very good. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Plechnik.
Yes.
Commissioner Young.
Yes.
Commissioner Hammercheck.
Yes. Thank you. This meeting stands adjourned. Thank you for joining us.
So Jennifer, did you have